Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Good day to everybody. Please excuse me. My name is Mitzie Wilson. I'm Vice President at Farther, where I'm also a wealth advisor, and I'm an author of a recently released book called Anonymous. Today, I just want to talk to you about what I specialize in. I specialize in investment management and identity protection. I can manage money on my own, but I need your help to manage your identity. Your wealth and your name can make you more visible. Public records and social media can make you more of a target. And please don't forget AI. When you're in sight, you're in reach. And when you're out of sight, you're out of reach. I would just like to share some stories about different things that happened to people that had to have their name on everything. Think about an athlete. Let's go with football. Signs a new contract, has new money, and he wants to buy his mom a house. He buys his mom a house. Not really thinking about it, he puts it in his name. Well, this is public record. His mom starts getting visitors, and people that shouldn't necessarily be stopping by start stopping by because they know that this is his house and he has money. The way around that is with home ownership. It's public record if you put it in your name. There are other ways to do this. You could do a land trust where it's in another name. They can't connect it back to you. Last year alone, there were over 25 professional athletes. Their homes were burglarized while they were playing. They're being seen on TV and someone else is burglarizing their homes. The way that happened is, once again, the home in their name, public record. They can change that. However, they can't change the fact that their team schedule, public knowledge. But if the house wasn't in their name and maybe they weren't on social media so much, or maybe if they just were a little more private, they may not have had that problem. It goes beyond a security system. You have to look out for yourself. They can't change the schedule of the game, but they can definitely change the home ownership. When you're out of sight, you're out of reach. I had another client, substantial inheritance. She wants to give back to the community, give back to a charity. She did a very substantial donation to a charity. Her name was on it. It was publicized. She got so many phone calls, she had to change her name because everybody was calling. Hey, you're giving away money. Can I get some of it? So that could have been eliminated by using what's called a donor advised fund. You put the money in and you designate what charities you want it to go to, but your name is nowhere to be found. Just something else that you can do just to not link things back to you. There was another sad story. Well, it had a good ending, where grandfather got a phone call, said his grandson had been kidnapped, had a picture of the kid, had the kid's voice. Thank goodness they had had a conversation prior, family meeting, and they had a code word. So the grandfather knew that if the grandson had been kidnapped, he would say the code word. Code word was not available. So the grandfather knew that nothing was wrong and he was not going to give somebody some money. So these are just things that you can do to help yourself and help your family. I have 3 steps. The first step is a digital sweep. It's like a digital audit. You can go to sites like Delete Me or OneRep, ONEREP. Scrub your name. Take it away from any type of people search where they have your name, your address, or anything about you. That's step 1. Step 2, change the title on your highly valued assets. They don't need to be in your legal name. Consider a trust, and the trust does not have to have your name. You can do an anonymous land trust that keeps your home address off of county tax assessors' records and websites. You still own the asset, but on paper, you're a ghost. The third thing to do is the LLC mask. Use a registered agent. A registered agent will just be another name on the form, but it'll be their principal office that is listed. So they're not going to see your home address. And that's the key factor. You don't want everyone knowing your business. If you're listening and thinking you could be a target, don't panic, just pivot. You've worked hard to build your kingdom, and you don't want to leave the front gates open. The goal is to be rich and famous in the past, but now the goal is to be wealthy and invisible. Don't panic, just pivot. And I came up with a little thing to remember when it comes to trust. Let's think about the letters in trust and what we can do. First letter is T, transparency. I want to hide my assets. Second thing is R, for reputation. It took you a lifetime to build it. One data breach can destroy everything. The U is for understanding. You need a good attorney because there are legal and financial ways to provide this mask so that everyone doesn't know what you have. S is for stewardship. I want you to go from owner to protector of your legacy. And the T is for tenacity. Privacy is not a destination, but a discipline. So you just have to know that there are things you can do, and you don't have to be as visible, or you have to pick and choose who you want to be visible with, which comes back to how big is your inner circle? Who knows all of your business? You need to know who you can trust and who you can't trust. I also suggest a board of directors, a personal board of directors. You need an accountant. You need a lawyer. You need a banker. You need a financial advisor. You may need an HR person. There are different people that you can call when you have a problem. Every company has a board of directors, and I believe every person needs a board of directors. You may not pay them initially, but you should remember their birthdays, remember their holidays, and see how you can assist them since they're helping you. And eventually you might have to tell them they're on your board. I could go on, but I think there's some questions or something someone wants to ask me.
Yes, thank you so much for bringing this knowledge to us. It's amazing when you realize how vulnerable we are right now in this digital age. So, can you take us back to your earliest memory of how you have been questioning your name and what it meant?
I guess it was just the different types of jobs I've had. I was a bank branch manager. So I saw all the titles of accounts, and you would have the checking account, the savings account, the trust account, and everything would be in the same exact name. So if someone came in, including the IRS, I could just see all of the names. Now, with the IRS, they're going to go to Social Security number, and that's how they're going to identify you. But the common person can identify you just by the name on the account.
Now, growing up, how did people's reactions to your name shape your sense of identity and belonging? Names are very important, especially if you have an unusual name, right?
I appreciate it more now, I can honestly say. When I call someone, I normally don't leave my last name. I just say it's Mitzie. They don't know that many Mitzies. So it's easy for them to know who called and to call me back. When I was in school, people would tease me and ask me if Mitzi was a nickname. And I never understood it because it's 6 letters, and there's some names that aren't 6 letters. Is Eric a nickname? Is Molly a nickname? Is Anna a nickname? They're all less letters than me, but they were considered a full name. So I think it probably just made me stronger. Something else, they throw something at you, you throw it back, or you learn to deal with it.
Yeah. So in today's digital world, how has the meaning of identity changed for women especially?
When you say especially women, I'll have to start there. They still try to put us in categories. I don't think you need to have Miss or MS or MISS or MRS. Why do you need that little label there? And the saddest part is when you're opening up a bank account or a brokerage account, they will ask you, are you married? Are you single? Are you a widow? And I don't think that's their business. I mean, married or single, I can go with, but why am I asking you if you're a widow? At that point, you're single.
Sure.
But it's bringing back memories that you may not want to deal with.
No. And also exposing your vulnerability. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. You don't really think about these small things. Now, many women are told to build their personal brand and to be visible. How do you reconcile that with the need for privacy?
You can be visible, but your money and your assets don't have to be visible. And some people, you have to make a choice. If you give someone a gift, do you have to advertise the fact that it came from you? Or are you giving the gifts for that particular charity or for whatever purpose you're giving that gift for? Does your name have to be attached to it? Is that going to make that big a difference? It's just like, I'm sorry to say, life insurance. People don't buy life insurance because it's not for them.
Yeah.
It's for the next generation.
For the next one. Yes, that is so true. Now, you talk about being a target. What are those invisible risks that most people completely are unaware of?
I think they're aware of them. They're just lucky enough not to have to deal with them yet.
Mm,
Once again, I talked about board of directors. You need to have a lawyer that you can call that's going to take your call, not put you on hold or you have to leave a message.
mm,
When something happens, I used to do commercial real estate lending. And if there was a problem with a property, say there was a gas station, they knocked down the gas station, they put a building up. Well, there still could be some issues, environmental issues from the gas station.
yeah,
So when someone goes to sue, they're opening up as big a bag as possible.
yeah.
They want money. So they're going to name whoever they need to name so that they can get a piece of something. So by
Mm,
your name on everything, you become that target when someone
right.
goes to sue you.
Wow. Now, your book explores the complications of trust. The book spotlights the complications of trust being in your name. This is a vital topic for anyone who's managing significant assets and complexity. So, walk us through that process of the safest way to maintain your privacy and sort out your financial structures.
I'm not a lawyer. So I first want to get that clear. And my
Mhm.
whole premise is it's nobody's business. So that's where I started. There is a chapter on the difference between a will and a trust. There is a chapter on probate. With a will, there will be probate. Just because I name you in my will doesn't mean you get whatever I left you. It's
Mm,
different than a beneficiary on a bank account or a brokerage account or a life insurance policy. They get those funds immediately because they're the beneficiary. If
right,
I have a house and I put it in the will, you get my house. Well, guess what? You might have the keys, but you don't have the ownership. Probate has to go through court
right.
and it is public record. I can walk down to the courthouse and find out everything you had in that little will and who's it's going to. With a trust, nothing is public. There is a trustee. The trustee handles all the paperwork, does everything that needs to be done, and passes the assets to whoever they're supposed to go to.
Okay, wow. Now, I know that you help and you support people who sometimes acquire large sums of money. What would be the first steps on how to handle your new life in structuring your privacy?
um, you need a lawyer. The lawyer has to draft the trust papers, but it's not the lawyer's job to name your trust. In my book, I have a chapter, I probably have about 50 or 60 different names in case you can't come up with one, but
Mhm.
something that's not going to go straight back to you. You can
Right.
have fun with it, but it's just totally up to you what name you use. I just strongly suggest you don't use your name.
Yes. So you can get quite creative with that.
Yes, you can. And it's nobody's business. But the other thing with having a trust, don't just go and get a trust. You got to put something in the trust so that it is alive.
It
You
has
want
to
to
be a little
transfer assets into the trust. You don't want to just say, oh, I got a trust and there's nothing in there.
something in there. Yeah. So, what would be one message that you want every woman listening today to walk away with? What would that be in terms of their lives and their privacy?
A friend of mine, brother passed away. She was an attorney, and he didn't have any of his paperwork in order. He was in hospice. So she got another attorney to come in, and they did a will so that at least things were in some type of order.
Mhm.
He had worked for a major company. He had been divorced for over 15 years. He never changed his beneficiary on his retirement account or his life insurance at work. He was able to put the car, the bank accounts, and the house in his daughter's name, so that was taken care of. But his ex-wife walked away with millions. And there was basically nothing the family could do because he hadn't changed his paperwork. And that's something that was not an isolated issue. When something major happens in your life, you got to update things. You know, somebody passed away and they were your beneficiary, change your beneficiary.
Yeah.
You know, there are things that you can do, but I will never forget my friend's words. She says, handle your business.
Mm, that is so true. Because you leave it to those who are behind, who have to clean up after
Mm-hmm.
you have passed. So if you do it while you're alive, that is the best time.
Yep.
Now, how has AI and deep fake technology changed the risks around personal identity? And what should we be aware of?
I think the example I use, have a family meeting, have code words, and you don't even know where these AI creatures are coming from.
Yeah.
Um, Spam is real. When you get that call that you don't recognize on your phone, why are you answering it?
Mm,
If someone's calling you, you should kind of know you got caller ID. You should know who's calling you. So you just have to maybe not pick up the phone, let them leave a message. It's just making it easier. Um, I've seen some of the doubles and I couldn't tell them apart.
mm,
They can do your face, they can do your voice. And you have to be a little more private with social media.
yes.
Yeah, you have a beautiful house, and yeah, it was on social media. I can recreate that picture.
Mm,
But you just have to me, I have to be a little more private. I don't
yeah.
want everyone knowing my business. I don't want, like the football players, we know what their schedule is, but now we found out where they live, and we know
Yes.
when they're not going to be home. And that wasn't even AI. You didn't really need AI for that one.
No, that's something you can just Google.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
scary.
I mean, you could
It's
use AI
obvious.
also, but I don't want people to think that AI is the excuse for doing something. You
Mm,
need to do it. It has nothing to do with AI. You need to
yes.
get your act together. You need to get your finances together, your beneficiaries, your life, your legacy. That all
Mm.
needs to be together. And that has nothing to do with social media or AI or anything else.
Now, as a financial planner, this is your world, right? Tell us a little bit about what your services include, the things that are so obvious to you, but not obvious to the ordinary person on the street.
Well, the new buzzword is alternative investments. And the easiest way to think about alternative investments, if a company is publicly traded, it's on the stock exchange and you can buy stock. With the alternative investments, it's only private companies where you can't buy the stock.
Right.
And what they have done recently is open the doors for everybody. Once upon a time, it was only for the ultra rich. It was for pension funds. It was for institutions. You couldn't be part of it.
Right.
Now, the barriers have been knocked down. There are some that they went from, you had to make at least 300,000 a year down to 70,000 a year. And you can
Oh,
get these same investments. The minimums have gone down substantially also.
okay.
There is risk involved, but there's risk involved in any investment. This is a
Yeah.
longer term play. A lot of them are in real estate, but they're not in buying a house. They're buying hotels. They're
Mm,
buying data centers, which is back to AI. They're
yes.
buying apartment buildings, apartment complexes. And
Mm,
they're not buying the one around the corner. They're buying the one that has every bell and whistle there is.
yeah.
And that's a way for you to also be part of real estate without getting the down payment, without paying the monthly mortgage. You can be a part of a bigger thing. And that wasn't available years ago to us. We didn't have
Yeah.
that opportunity. So I really like those type of things because everybody wants real estate. I don't want to manage real estate. I'd rather just have a piece of it.
Hmm. Absolutely intriguing. That is beautiful. It's nice to know that those options have expanded to everyone. Not many people know that. So, in planning your succession, give us a checklist of things that you need to have in place when you are getting your end of life affairs sorted.
I wouldn't call it end of life. I would call it during life. There's just things that you need to have and things that you don't necessarily think about.
Yeah.
So I am going directly to my book because I don't want to forget anything. And what's really needed, which is chapter 7. So I say you need a trust. You can have a will,
Mhm.
but there was a quote I used in my book. Some lawyers wrote a book on how to leave money to family and friends. And they said people will get upset that they have to pay an attorney to set up the trust documents and they'll put it off because they don't want to pay for it. He said, probate is an attorney's retirement fund.
Right.
So, they'll try to get you to do the right thing, but if you don't do it, there are fees involved in probate. You got to have a lawyer, you got to pay the lawyer. So he considered it his retirement fund. So I would suggest a trust. You need a power of attorney. If something happens to you, how are your bills going to be paid?
Mm,
You're the only one on that account. With the
mm,
power of attorney, you trust the person that you give the power of attorney to, and you allow them to handle your financial affairs. There's also health directives. Want to be on life support? If you don't, you have to have it in writing. So those are the three main ones. And then, there's special situations. If you have a family member that you're taking care of or a child that has special needs, you want to take care of them so that when you're gone, they can continue to have the care that you've provided for them.
mm,
And you can have more than one trust. You could have a trust just for the special needs child. You could have another trust for someone else. And the other thing with the trust too, I say I have children under 18.
mhm.
Do I want them to get money when they turn 18?
No, maybe not.
Right. You could literally write that, I want them to go to college. When they finish college at age 25, if they buy a house, they can take money from the principal for the down payment. If they
Right.
haven't finished school, then maybe they don't get it yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can
Putting
put
those.
little roadblocks in there.
Yes. Yes. Well, Mitzie, thank you so much for coming online and sharing this knowledge with us. I have your website at the bottom of the screen in case anybody wants to reach out to you. Where can people find your book? And tell us the title again.
The title of the book is Anonymous. It's on Amazon. I don't know if you can see it. Well, it's not showing up too well here, but it is on Amazon. And if you go to that website, you will be able to get to that. I'm also on LinkedIn. So that's another place to find me. And my work email is mitzie.wilson@farther.com. FARTHER.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mitzie.
No, thank you.
And
And don't panic, just pivot.
I love it. And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We're a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share these stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you need help in structuring the future of your family, reach out to professionals who can help you. We've had Mitzie's website at the bottom of the screen. Or if you know somebody who needs this information, tag them on this video. Help share this in your community as well. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Mitzie, thanks again for the interview.
No, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story. Thank you so much.